They're called Navigators. Many of the expert navigators received as little as 20 hours of training. Oh, and they're going to have access to your personal, medical, and financial information. What could possibly go wrong? Well, let's ask former Lieutenant Governor of New York, Betsy McCoy, author of Beating Obamacare.
Great to join you.
Thank you, Betsy. Always great to have you back.
Thank you.
Looks like you brought your copy of Obamacare with you.
I did. It's right here, the Affordable Care Act.
You know, you've probably really gotten some strong arms from lifting that thing around.
I sure have, and I especially want to talk about Section 1311, under which Americans will be exposed to the dangers of navigators.
Well, when you talk about the dangers of navigators, I mean, I was sort of facetiously saying what could go wrong, but a lot could go wrong because, first of all, how prepared are we to turn loose this information to the navigators?
Not prepared. Let's explain what navigators are. Under Section 1311 of this law, hundreds of millions of dollars are being poured into community activist groups, unions, community health plans, civil rights groups, immigration rights groups all over the country, and they are being asked to hire, quote, navigators to do what otherwise government employees would do, which is walk Americans through the health exchanges, show them what the choices are, and then collect all their financial and personal information and help them enter it into a nationwide database and enroll in a health plan.
Now, these aren't federal employees, they're contractors.
No, they are people hired literally off the streets. In fact, one of the regulations says that they should match the ethnic and racial composition of the neighborhood where they're going to be working, on the preposterous notion that only an Hispanic can help a person of Hispanic origins select a health plan, or only an Asian can help an Asian. That's just one of the regulations, but there will be no background checks in many states.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about the background checks, because I'm hearing there's not enough time, and that's their excuse, that we want to have background checks for everything except the navigators, who would have social security numbers. They would have everything necessary
your
to be
IRS information, your address, and lots of other personal information. So one problem is these background checks. Some states, Florida, Texas, Ohio, have simply insisted that there will be background checks. But in other states, they said, well, there won't be time, right? I mean, here's some common sense, right? Insurance brokers have always been fingerprinted and background checked, so why shouldn't these people? But the fact is they're not going to be, and originally they were supposed to get 30 hours of training. Now it's down to 20 hours, and some of these community organizations haven't even hired the navigators, even though this is supposed to launch in less than 2 weeks.
And if they mess up, okay, let's say they hire somebody who just got out of prison because he was there for identity
Very plausible.
But very
He needs
possible.
a job, and here's one waiting for him.
Get my credit card information, my social security, can create a complete ID. What's the penalty for it?
Oh, not in this law.
What?
Section 1411 says you shouldn't steal somebody's identity, but there's no penalty, right? How outrageous is that? Okay, in addition to the risks of identity theft, you've also got this federal data hub that will collect information from the IRS, the Department of Health and Human Services, Homeland Security, state agencies. It's all going to be in one hub, and the government watchdog says that's not ready for prime time either. They have no idea whether that's been sufficiently tested to guard your information.
You know, it sounds like instead of navigators, we need fumigators to go through all of Obamacare.
You bet.
And that might fix it.
You
Betsy,
bet.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always insightful to get your word on this.
You.
Well, Rowdy.